Okay, we are live. Okay, three, two, one. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 136 of the Security Podcast. Happy New Year to everybody else. And let's ask Tom, did you have a good New Year?
I did. 2016 is now over, so that's done and gone.
I mean, I have two young kids, so I don't know if you know, Netflix has a fake ball drop that you can put on anytime when you want the kids to go to sleep. We almost did that for ourselves. We were almost just going to put it on. I mean, we were in bed by 10:30 anyway. So,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I went to bed around 9 or 10 myself.
I mean, I think the ball dropping in New York City is the most anticlimactic thing ever. I mean, like there are
Yeah.
no fireworks. There's a bunch of confetti, but I mean, honestly, so
I didn't want to stay up for the last moments of 2016. It had drug on too long already.
I mean, it's one of those. I wish I could stay up. I wish I had friends to party with, but I do have two small kids, and I'd much rather be home than with all the drunks on the road.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it's our first episode of 2017, and when the new year rolls around, we have CES. But before we cover the main topic of what's coming out at CES and other things, I want to go back to our podcast where we talked about my friend in London who got stuck, where he had his Google phone, his Android phone wiped. He said that we mischaracterized it, and I'm going to hopefully try to characterize it the right way. His phone did something. The type is irrelevant, and he reset it. And when he reset it, he had to put in his Google password in. The problem was it was on LastPass, and he couldn't get LastPass because he was stuck at the sign-in screen. So he did forgot password. And what that does, I think that's the thing that triggered the 72-hour lockout. This was not a LastPass fault. It was just the fact he couldn't get to LastPass to put his password in. And I think that's the right
Yeah.
way.
Okay. So yeah, that's definitely. I wouldn't call it a fault of Google. It's definitely not a fault of LastPass, but that 72-hour lockout is for your protection. As annoying as that is, it's so someone can't hijack your Google account in 30 minutes and own your entire life and all of your devices connected to it. It's to give you if you're wrongly being attacked, if someone's trying to hijack your account successfully, it gives you time to respond to that. It gives you 72 hours to say, whoa, 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 hold on here. This isn't me. And, I am the rightful owner of the account. Please don't give it to that person.
I mean, there was a podcast host, was it Jason Howell, who tried to do two-factor live on the air and ended up locking himself out.
Yeah.
And that 72 hours, he had to get to Google. He got to Google. They did something. I don't know exactly what their magic was. They unlocked his account, which sort of scares me, but they are a big tech company. They have to have something to do this. And they were able to get him in. But the 72-hour lockout basically says, okay, you just got to chill for 3 days.
Yeah, it's really annoying, but I get why they do it. Google, at least for normal people, doesn't really have too much of a support staff to speak of. So if you hit a 3-day lockout, you're pretty SOL until that expires. You might be able to get a hold of someone, but it's definitely not guaranteed.
So you just have to unfortunately sit there, and if you're in a different country or this is mission critical or wherever, I mean, like my friend did, it was bad. But again, it was a Google issue and not a LastPass issue. And again, our advice is still, yes, have a complicated password, but for certain mission critical things like Gmail, I would know it, but I would also have a second factor, whether it's Google Authenticator or Authy, or even at least the thing that says, are you sure you want to sign in, just to make sure.
Yeah, without reservation, recommend two-factor on everything that has it as an option. But at the same time, these little edge cases like, hey, I'm reinstalling my phone, two-factor can bite you, and it's got to be something that you prepare for, and something that you explain to people that, hey, this is a key to get into these services. And if that key goes away, you're going to have a hard time. That's why Google gives you these backup codes. That's why most services give you, hey, here, this offline key that you can use in case of an emergency, or if you wipe your phone or lose your second factor for some reason. It's really important to keep those and keep them current.
I mean, we explained a few weeks ago, I completely reformatted my phone, and I had my trusty backup code. And look, I have a Nexus 6P, but when I formatted it, it said, we notice you have two-factor. Obviously, you can't access it right now. We have this other way of doing it, which was put your password in. We're going to send, and your phone number that's associated with the account. We will send you a text message, but you can't retrieve it. We will retrieve it, and we'll go from there. And the problem that Jason Howell had at that time was that he put his Google Voice number in. So the message was able to be retrieved if he had Google Voice installed, but his phone was brand new. So that was the answer of, you should at least have it. The phone number you give Google should be your actual cell phone number and not Google Voice.
Yeah, I ran into that trap when setting it up the first time. Luckily, I had my backup codes handy, but I did get bit by that.
So at least it was, I questioned the security of it only because what's it called? If the attacker knows the phone number and has physical access, this one-time thing will get them in. And then I'll start downloading and everything else.
Yeah.
And I don't remember how I got the codes back on. I do something I shouldn't do. This is a secret. I took a screenshot of the QR code and I encrypted that and have that encrypted somewhere. So I have all my QR codes saved as pictures. So anytime I need that one back, I have it right there.
I do the same thing. I keep those encrypted keys around just in case. I've hardly had to break them out. I did once or twice, but it's not an everyday occurrence.
Google does not like that. They want you to disable it and re-enable it. And I at one point had 3 devices that I needed two-factor on. And that's not a bad idea. Again, you're opening up your attack service, but when you do two-factor, do it on a second, like an old phone that you can store in a cabinet somewhere just in case. But again, you're opening up your attack surface. So
yeah, more devices is more things to attack.
So I think we're closed with that. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the DNC hack with Podesta emails. So somebody put in our security group, which, by the way, if you want to join, just tweet at us and we'll get you in. They went through how he got hacked, and it was just a really simple spear phishing attempt. Somebody emailed him with what looked like the official Google you're logged in Romania type thing, spoofed email. And John Podesta did the right thing. He sent it to his chief of staff or whatever, who sent it to IT, and IT confirmed that, yes, for whatever stupid reason, the Bitly link, it looks like a legitimate email. He should change his email, which was false, except for the fact because they should have noticed that it was the Bitly link. But the IT person came back, change your password, use this link. And they went back and forth through how to help this guy change his email. But at the end of the day, when John Podesta got the email back to change it, he didn't use the official Google change. He went back to the Bitly link and got phished.
Yeah, and it's a classic phishing case. You can't really blame people for getting caught in this, right? Especially, he did the right thing right out. He said, hey, this email is suspicious. Do I want to click this? Send it off to IT. IT said, change your passwords just in case. Here, use this link, and he clicked the wrong one. It's a completely honest mistake. Destroyed everything, right? Completely got owned because of that honest mistake. But check out that domain, check out the way it looks, check out that webpage. We'll link it in the show notes. It is very, very convincing. It looks exactly like the real thing, which if you're getting phished, it'll look exactly like the real thing. Phishing works. It works for everyone. Let's not call this guy an idiot. Let's not say he's the worst person in the world. He got phished, right? Tons of people get phished. It works. That's why hackers do it. And
I was listening to Fox because I'm sick and tired of CNN looking for missing planes. And this is not my political statement at all, because I listen to all of them. whatever show they were on, they said this guy's email was password. Even I'm smarter than that. And I'm thinking to myself, no, you're not. So yours is password 1. It didn't matter what the password was. It could have been 64 characters of random nonsense. He gave it to them. Password or whatever it was, he gave them the password. It didn't matter what it was.
Right. And, the fact that it wasn't guessed beforehand is kind of a testament to this attack. They know phishing works. They used phishing. It worked.
I mean, remember, guessing a password is binary. It either works or it doesn't. So if your password is monkey or password or the name of your first car, somebody has to sit there and try it. Instead of trying all these passwords, just ask the person. And that's what they did. They asked it. And I want to get one of the other people in our group said, I think that what it sounds like is that they went to both parties and they just had an issue with the Democrats, not necessarily the Republicans. And then he went on to say, if WikiLeaks did it, how did they know that it wasn't Russia because of Secure Drop?
Right, and that's a question about the internals of WikiLeaks, which I don't know anything about. I know Secure Drop. I know it's designed to protect the journalistic enterprise, whether or not it's journalistic, from the source. But if that source decides to give information or identity or proof documents, there's so much behind the scenes that we don't know. I don't think it's worth speculating at this point.
So, I mean, it's just whether you're John Podesta or the random person on the street. Yes, John Podesta has a very large attack surface, but I mean, just you on the side, someone can just send you this. And hey, look, I get a lot of these because of my email address, where I have a very common last name and you just put a letter in front of it and you send me email. I get a lot of, did you try to log in here? Or I get somebody's, you have a doctor's appointment, or hey, you ordered tickets, just because I have a fairly common email address. So I always have to be vigilant, and having two-factor on this makes me at least feel a little bit better.
Yeah. A testament to phishing working was, my grandmother, the grandmother of the security guy that's trying to set everything up for her. And she's on a Chromebook, right? I gave her the impervious platform of security goodness. And my grandmother got phished. I had to go unfish her account and go through the whole Google recovery process because she got a link and it looked totally legitimate. And she gave it her username and password. And she didn't click the two-factor thing that I had told her to before. But that's all solved now. It doesn't matter who you are. I've seen, IT people phished really, really well. I've seen, admins and domain admins get phishing emails and absolutely fail assessments by, clicking on stuff and giving people their passwords. So it doesn't matter who you are. You got to be vigilant.
And we keep on telling you, always look at the domain and make sure it's actually the domain and not, in this case, googlemail.com/mysecurity.tk at the end, which the TK clearly is not that. And that's what happened. But again, it's one of those, it's only going to get worse in 2017. You're going to get a lot more phishing attacks. You're going to get a lot more attempts to get you to click on links. Just, you have to look for the green lock, look for the green bar, look for HTTPS, look at the domain, really study it. And it's okay to tell your friend, no, I don't trust this website.
Well, even the, green bar and HTTPS and all that, I mean, certs are easy now, right? Certs are free. I can make phishing websites with HTTPS in front of them thanks to Let's Encrypt. And that's not a knock on Let's Encrypt. That's a good thing, right? Everything should be secure, even the phishing websites. I'll go as far as to say, especially the phishing websites. The shady websites that are stealing your passwords, you don't want that stuff sniffed by everyone. It should be HTTPS. You want only the attacker getting your Gmail password.
Yes. So, I mean, that was always the knock on Let's Encrypt was, if anybody can do it, so can the bad guys. But at least your traffic is now encrypted, which is clearly the right way to do it. And I am seeing on Chrome, I don't know which Chromes this are, where the green bar is, it says secure or not secure, which I really do like.
Yeah, that's a nice little change. I
The
don't
problem is I
know.
don't want the I don't necessarily want the change. I tell people look for the green, look for the HTTPS, and in incognito it's black or it's like a gradient of gray. I don't want the change when it comes to security, but I guess secure and not secure makes sense.
I'm wondering if websites will. I like the little separations. It's got the green lock and it says secure, and then there's like a delimiter here, and then your URL. Um, I'm wondering how many phishing sites are going to say secure right at the front just to try to throw people off, because we've seen that before.
Unfortunately, you're right, and and when you change the UI all the time, you can get around it because people always forget or they don't know or whatever else. So
Yeah.
okay. So, I mean, I think that's it with like the official news and follow up that we have. The next thing is let's talk about CES. So, the big conferences in town in Las Vegas, they have everything about what they think is going to come up for the new year. And apparently, it's IoT, literally everything. Everything is IoT.
Last year it was drones. Hey, your refrigerator, it's now a drone. Your washing machine, it can fly. It's amazing. It's going to be great. But now we're going to shove the internet at everything, even more so than last year. And LG is leading the forefront where they said, hey, 100% will be will be connected, Wi-Fi connected. And that's just wonderful. And if you didn't catch the sarcasm in my voice, it's not wonderful. It's actually horrible. And it's probably one of the worst things imaginable.
And yes, and look, I've gotten the IoT bug, and I've been very careful in what I bring into the house, but I've been bringing in more and more IoT devices and trying to get them to work, and had consumer success. Now, if anything gets hacked, I'm going to be in a problem, but at least I know what I'm doing. Telling someone, oh, just buy an Echo or a Google Home and buy some light bulbs. Just buy the cheapest ones. They work fine. And buying this toothbrush that's Wi-Fi enabled, or Conair has not a hair dryer, one of those hair thingies, brushes. I don't know. I'm looking at it now.
Why? Like, I almost understand the internet connected scale. Like, you wanted to go up to like Fitness Pal or Fitbit or whatever you're doing your tracking on. Okay, sort of. I kind of get that. Is it really harder than looking at your phone and typing in a couple numbers and hitting go? I don't think so. Why do I need my washing machine to tweet? What does my fridge have to tell me? It's like the stupid egg carton thing that you can open up an app and figure out how many eggs are in your fridge. Who cares? Right? What happened to the magnetic sticky note that goes on the front of the fridge and you write eggs and you tear off the piece of paper and go to the grocery store? That's what I do. It's a text file. It's on my phone, but that's what I do.
No, the problem is that I don't do it. I want the internet connected device that will, when it knows that I ran out of ketchup, so I don't have to do anything. I don't care how it figures it out. You want to put a camera in the ketchup bottle, give me a whole bunch of little disposable cameras, and when it gets empty, there you go. I'm giving you $1 million idea. Little leveling balls that go into the condiments.
But now, when you run out of ketchup, you get a full screen, full video, full sound, high audio ad playing on the front of your TV refrigerator with a Heinz commercial and a dancing, singing ketchup bottle. I don't want to live in that world.
My son eats ketchup like a meal, and if there's no ketchup, the world ends. And ketchup is one of those condiments that you just don't buy, and you can always pick up next week until you run out. But yes, I have a problem of writing, you ask my wife, things down on the grocery list, but yes, you're right. I don't need Samsung to come out with a $5,000 fridge running an old version of Android on the front that can digitize my son's artwork because it's stainless steel and won't stick onto it and make it so it sticks on. I don't need that. I don't want that. Okay.
And speaking of running an old version of Android, so here's something you can look forward to on your LG TVs. Smart TV ransomware is a thing. And it totally bit someone. So there's a nice little Twitter thread going down explaining what happened. So a developer, Darren Cawthon, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'll link it in the show notes later. LG Smart TV, and it got bricked by this Android malware. This there's like an Android locker is the style of malware where it comes up with a fake FBI warning and says you have to pay $500 to unlock your device because the FBI thinks you did something bad. It's terrible, but people fall for it because their phones get locked out when they're running an ancient version of Android. So they get this big sideways picture of like an FBI notice across their TV, and it locks out all functionality. The TV is bricked until they pay $500. So Darren had to call LG and wrangle with support to get them to give him factory reset information so he could factory reset his family member's stupid TV so they could finish watching
whatever.
This is ridiculous, and this is a feature we have to look forward to because 100% of LG appliances that are Wi-Fi connected are not going to get updates. I guarantee you, like maybe 5% or less will get updates after 2 years. And if you want to keep track of that, and if we're doing this podcast in another 2 years and I'm wrong, you can tell me, and I will be very pleased. But
look, I have LG washer dryer. My mom has the dryer, and I've not gotten a bulletin that says you need to update the firmware in your dryer or whatever it is. It has this weird thing. It's NFC tag that will listen, maybe because I don't know how they do it on an iPhone. It listens to the noise. It emits like a silent beep, and it tells you what's wrong with it. Look, anything that will help me. I want the washer to tell me when it's done, like a nice text message. This is a Raspberry Pi type project. Or the dryer when it's done. I like that. I want the oven to shut off. The problem is I don't trust LG to do this right, or Samsung, or wherever. I don't trust the oven to work correctly.
But we solved these problems. I mean, the dryer, they've got a knob and it says audible ding or alarm, and it goes whenever it's finished. It's great. And then the oven, there's a button called cook time, and then you set I want it to turn off in 60 minutes, and it just shuts off. I think manufacturers are inventing problems to solve because they literally have nothing else.
Well, they said
the ovens we have today are great.
Well, they're saying that it will listen to the Nest Protect, and if Nest Protect emits a sound, it'll turn off your oven. And I go, maybe I just don't get it. I don't know how many fires are started from ovens, but I don't think this is a problem. It's like automatic in my car that will tell me what the check engine light is. I don't know if the check engine light is coming in my car in years. Like, yes, it comes off when the gas cap is a little loose, but it's not like I need, it doesn't happen all the time.
These are solutions searching desperately for problems that just don't exist anymore.
So, I mean,
TV malware, good stuff.
And I think that the smart TV is still a thing because it's built into the TV. The number of people I said, well, do you have a Roku box or an Amazon Fire? No, I just use the smart TV. And I go, I feel bad for you because you have the worst interface known to man. There's no such thing as a good smart TV interface. And you buy a Roku or an Amazon Fire, and it's instantly better.
I bought my Roku 3 when it came out, and it keeps getting updates. It's still awesome. And it was like $100 or so bucks, maybe $150. It wasn't that expensive, but I bought it once, like 3 or 4 years ago, and it's still chugging along. And, when I upgrade my TV, I'll upgrade to the new 4K one, but I'm not going to do that anytime soon because no one sells a really, really dumb 4K TV.
Well, the other problem is I don't even think there's 1080p content. So unless you have a Blu-ray, there's no such thing as 1080p content. And people are saying Netflix 4K is not 4K. Like, it says it's 4K, and for your eyes it's 4K. But if you put a DVD side by a 4K DVD or Blu-ray and 4K Netflix, they are not the same. So I'm still on a crusty old TV for the next few years.
So there's more ransomware. going around. This time, a database platform called MongoDB. And this is kind of one of the new hotness databases. It's not really new anymore. There's new stuff that's kind of replaced the other new stuff, but it's pretty common amongst developers working in newer web frameworks and stacks. So Mongo is designed very poorly in a lot of ways, coming from a developer standpoint. But in one of the worst ways is by default, it comes without authentication. And it's okay with that. They built in the option, but still by default, it's wide open to whoever wants to get in. So someone programmed a bot, it's scanning the internet, and it's erasing everything, every open MongoDB it comes across, just destroying, companies, side projects, whatever is in that database, just wiping out all the information and replacing it with one message. And it says, hey, here's an email address, send 0.2 Bitcoins to this address and contact this email with your IP to recover your database. Which is, unless these guys have backups, it's just gone. So this has been plaguing the internet, and people are going nuts. But I mean, you put a database on the internet without authentication. On one hand, yeah, you got to read the documentation. On the other hand, Mongo developers, guys, really, you made this available by default to the world without a username or password.
Yeah,
this is poor design defaults that landed you and your users in hot water, and they hate you for it. This is why we always say secure defaults. Yes, it's annoying when you have to set up a nice database and blow up all the permissions because it's too locked down. I get it. I've been there. It's really annoying to set it up at first, but this is why that happens. Right? Because if you don't do it that way, if you do it the easy by default way, you get stuff like this where your database is deleted and you have to send some guy $200 to get it back.
And by the way, talking about Bitcoins and ransomware, one of the things that our president-elect has done is raise the Bitcoin price by 50%. So when he took office,
did he make Bitcoin great again? Is that what he did?
I don't know. I mean, it was like $600 something, and now it's like almost $1,100. So
I think that's great again. Is that great again? Can we claim that? Is that a thing?
I guess if your ransomware wants one Bitcoin, I mean, that's not that good.
So he made ransomware great again too. So, I'm waiting for him to go on Twitter and tell everyone that it was his idea to make Bitcoin this expensive, and all the nerds can thank him, or something like that.
But remember, Bitcoin, I think, is illegal in the United States. I think it's one of those, you're not allowed to own other currency other than US dollars.
I don't think that's actually a thing. The last I heard on the legality of Bitcoin, they said, hey, we're not treating it like money, we're treating it like property, so it can be taxed like property.
So he's raking. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but if you own Bitcoin, I'm really I mean, I want to buy Bitcoin, but it's too high.
I have stopped my purchasing of Bitcoin. I used to every couple weeks, throw in a little bit of money here or there, just watch it grow little by little. I've stopped doing that since the massive price jump. And I'm just sitting and watching the mountain grow little by little. It's not an ungodly amount of money, but if you would like to donate your Bitcoin, we do have a Bitcoin address you can donate to on the website. So take full advantage of that.
So at this point, we have nothing really else. I mean, there's a lot of little itty bitty news things that are there, not really that important. We do know that one of the 3-letter agencies asked Amazon for Alexa data, and Amazon said no, but that's all we know. So
yeah, there's a real world cryptography conference that was happening today, probably still going on, and the Levchin Prize was awarded to Moxie Marlinspike and Trevor Perrin for the Signal protocol, which of course we keep going on and on and on about because it's just awesome in every way. There are 4 tiny quotes from Moxie that I want to read off because they really make a lot of sense. The first one is going to get people angry. Decentralized doesn't work. It doesn't work with mobile, and that's where people are. You know, next is he's talking about when he was developing the Signal protocol. He said, when I realized that usable crypto was important, I didn't know what usable meant. Which is good because, you know, we as nerds will develop something we're like, oh yeah, this is totally usable. And it's, you know, you have to write like 20 lines of Python to make something work, which to a developer is like, oh, only 20 lines of Python? That's really easy. To a normal person, you're speaking gibberish. Moxie then goes on to say, computers are no longer for computer people. We can't just teach everyone to be like us. And that's a really good point. Right? Computers aren't used by nerds anymore. The computers you use now are the phones in your pockets, right? Everyone has one. My grandmother has one. She's got a Nexus, and she's loading apps and clicking on stuff every day, and it scares me to death because I don't know what she's doing. And then he goes on to say, cryptography has to be completely invisible, and it must scale to 1 billion users. It's like SSL. If there's an interface to it, you've done it wrong. If there's buttons to click to make something secure, it's ineffective because people won't click it. If it just happens, you've won. And that's really all I had.
So basically, look at iMessage. iMessage just works. WhatsApp just works.
Signal just works.
And Signal just works, but the difference between iMessage and Signal is iMessage is defaulted on the phone, and Signal and WhatsApp and the others you have to download.
Right.
And when you explain the details of the security, most people say it's good and iMessage is good enough. So I don't know. Anyway, that's it. We're over anyway. And I guess we will see everyone next week. So
see everyone.
Bye. And